Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of What's Us Got to Do with It. Welcome back to my drag room, which has become like quite its own little character in the show, to be honest, which I quite live for and I love. You know, you can see all my bits. There's little Shirley Temple, there's Liza. There's a few other bits, but I love that you get to come into my drag room each week and be with me in my little sanctuary, in my little safe space, because you know, God knows the world out there at the moment is a little bit of mayhem. So the fact that we get to escape into a little realm of safety, a little pocket of safety, you know. Because, you know, I think we go around as, especially as queer people that are listening, the idea of having a space where we can come and just feel safe and comfortable. And actually, that goes for everybody. I'm not going to just say queer people. I think people in general, you know, it's just nice to have a place that you can go retreat to and just know that you're safe and not judged. And, you know, all the worries of the world can just dissipate for a while. It's just really nice. So I'm glad that my drag room and my voice and my guests and your little ear holes are all together in one little safe space. So it's nice to see you all. I hope you've had a fantastic week with whatever you're doing. It's a joy to have you back into the What's Lost Got to Do with It experience. It's a joy to be back and talking to a whole bunch of new folks and new guests, new year, new us. But I'm very excited today. My guest is actually a Sydney local, someone that is a very dear friend of mine, and you will know them from Drag Race Down Under season 4. One of what do they call them? Mitch's bitches, Michelle's bitches, because Michelle Visage obviously took over as host for Drag Race Down Under. And if you haven't watched it, well, I recommend you get on board and go and have a watch because you'll see my guests thriving and shining, and they're absolutely incredible. Their name is Vybe. It's just Vibe, babes. It's just Vibe. So I'm excited to welcome It's Just Vibe, aka Vibe, to the show very, very shortly. But it's good to see you all. It's good to have you here. And I'm very, very excited for you to get to meet my guest. All right, we're going to be back right after this with Vibe. Today's episode of What's Lost Got to Do with It is brought to you by our incredible sponsors at BetterHelp. Through life, we're often hearing about red flags, the things that we should avoid in people, but we never talk about green flags. So now I think it's time that we start looking for the green flags in the people that we surround ourselves with, the people that we love, the people that we work with. Let's find the good things about each other. And I think that therapy is a great way to explore these things. Therapy can help you identify the green flags in people that are around us to make sure that we are having the best experience with the relationships that we involve ourselves in on a day-to-day basis. Whether you're dating, married, forming a relationship, or just working on yourself, it's now time to form relationships that love you back. Over many years, I, Hannah Conda, have been in therapy, and it has been a saving grace so many times. I've worked on the ability to communicate effectively and to work on the way that I communicate and deal with other people, as well as process those bigger feelings that sometimes I have not really known how to deal with. Therapy has made me feel less alone. It's made me feel safe. It's made me feel confident. It's made me look at the things that sometimes I don't like about myself and figure out ways that I can navigate to make them things that I love about myself. So our incredible partners at BetterHelp are providing such an incredible platform. It is fully online, it is convenient, it is easy, and it is affordable, which is the most important part about therapy, making it affordable and accessible. Finding the right therapist can be quite a challenge sometimes, but with BetterHelp's over 30,000 credentialed therapists, baby, you are going to find your fit in no time. And hey, if the first one doesn't work out at no additional cost, you're allowed to swap. You can find the right therapist for you. So discover those green flags today. Move over red flags, you're out. Green flags are in. And do it with BetterHelp. Head on over to betterhelp.com/whatslost to get 10% off for your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP/What's Lost. Welcome back, everyone, to What's Lost Got to Do with It. It is now that time that we introduce our incredible guest for this week, and it is none other than Vibe.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Oh, it's so good to have you finally on Lay Pod.
It's good to be on, Miss Hannah Conda.
Oh, it's been such a a long time coming since, since your run on Down Under season
Yeah,
4, where you were like me, a runner-up.
we're just too good to win. I've just figured out we're too good to win.
Oh, that's what I say. I think that's a very apt sort of description of what we
Yeah.
are. Plus, we're also from Sydney, and we've got a Sydney curse apparently now. That's what they say on
You
on
know what
uh,
we
on the
do? And,
online.
and if we're going to push the Sydney curse, then I'm glad to do it with a sister like you, Hanny.
Oh, Mama, right back at you. But how did you enjoy your experience on the Down Under?
It was really camp. I think everyone can have a very different experience on
Yeah,
Down Under, as I think you know. And I mean, I sort of went into it with expectations of it being really difficult, really challenging, really exhausting, which it was all of those three things. But what I don't think I sort of counted on was how positive of an experience it was actually going to be. And
yeah.
I think I just laughed for 3 weeks.
You do it. I remember when I was coming over to go in and do the little walk route. Everyone at home was like, "Make sure you check on her. Just let us know how she's going." And I was like, "Don't worry, I will." And I walked in.
Yeah.
I was like, "I got nothing to worry about. No one needs to worry about this. Bitch is fine."
Oh, it was a giggle. And I think like just having the girls that were able to like banter back and forth and have that little sisterly connection was very like just doing drag in Sydney with the girls. It was shit
Yeah.
talking backstage the entire time.
Yeah, well, I think that's what I love about our group of girls is that
Mm,
we are very much bringing just your backstage banter, your
yeah.
general chit chat and way of being to the screens, which I think people underestimate how natural and how realistic that is.
Well, and that's the thing, like, drag is so polished and everything, and the drag that you see in Sydney is very like on the stage. But my favorite part of the night is literally just sitting backstage with the girls, having a couple of drinks, couple of bevies, and just giggling with each other. So that's
Oh,
my highlight.
because how long have you been doing drag now?
I think this is my 14th year.
Far out, so we're kind of like around the same age.
Yeah,
Have you
famously.
famously? Yeah, we're famously twins. So,
Really
so young,
young. We've been
yeah.
21 for like 12 years now. It's great.
What have you noticed? Like, because I've obviously had many observations, but I want to know
Mm.
from you what are your sort of observations of how our community and our scene has sort of changed over the years?
I mean, I think when we first started, and I don't know if this was from like an outside looking in perspective, because obviously it does take time to get into the thick of the scene and the thick of the
Mm,
sisterhood. But I think comparing what I knew of the drag scene then to now, I think the drag scene's a lot nicer. I think
yeah,
everyone is more open to like new connections, new friendships, new cast combinations, and things like that. Back in the day, it felt very sort of these are the girls that do this night, and these are the girls that do that night, and how dare you try and come up and join that thing? And
yeah.
you would know from making the move
y-
from Perth to Sydney too, like trying to crack into the scene or the community in any way is already hard. But yeah, I definitely think the girls these days are a lot nicer.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Mm,
like there's definitely more of a harmony built within our drag scene,
mm.
and it's not so gatekeepy anymore.
Yes.
Not that
Well,
I like, yeah.
as the self as no, not the self confess, as the defined gatekeeper of Sydney drag, I will
Yeah,
concur.
yeah. Because that was such a good conversation that you had
Mm,
with it was with Nikita, wasn't it?
yeah.
So the context of it for those listening was like basically Nikita had said that she'd not been able to work in Sydney because she found it really gatekeepy. But then like you had to go, hey girl, well you haven't really come out. You haven't been
And that's the
around.
thing. Like, I think as someone who literally worked to get where I am in the scene by literally looking like dog shit for years, doing
Yeah.
horrible numbers in horrible outfits in horrible wigs that weren't glued on properly with no eyebrows. I mean, it teaches you a thing or two and it's persistence. I think,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't sort of I'm not going to go into like the bodybuilding community and complain that I'm not number one instantly because I don't even work out. So I think there's a few steps to go before we can complain about not being at the same level as someone else.
You know what? That's the thing. Like I've always said it. Like there's a level of expectation that people
Mm,
have, and it goes for a lot of things. But sometimes queens walk in and they
mm.
just like they've been doing drag 2 seconds. They expect to be given it, but you don't do that. You don't walk into like a big company and go, "Hello,
I'm the
hi."
CEO.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that. You've got to progress, and plus, it makes you a better artist and a better drag queen because you get to work out your flaws before you get
Yeah,
put on a big space to then be open to all this critique and
yeah, it's
rather than
weird.
end up
And like,
quitting.
Well, and that's the other thing. I think back in our day, we didn't have such a, for lack of a better word, like a housebound drag scene
Mm,
as well. Like it was very, if you want to do drag, you're out in the clubs, you're being a social queen, you're in front of people, and like you're learning how to like push and pull with an audience. You're learning how to host. You're learning how to perform. And I think
yeah.
some of the queens that are very, I learnt my face from YouTube, and this is my first night on the town, so I should be here. It's like,
Mm.
well, you've missed that whole actually how you
The c
work with people thing.
Yeah, the connecting
Yeah,
flesh.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
connection.
Because 'Cause you're very great at work. Like, I love the way watching you just, like, work a room, and you've got
Mm.
great people skills. Where do you think you kind of picked up on that? Was that something you've learnt as a kid? Were you like that as a kid?
No, I hated public speaking. I was fine to be like on stage as long as it was in something that was pre-planned. Like if it
Mm,
was something choreographed or like a musical production thing or like a dance thing, that's all the work you do before you actually get to the stage. And when I was doing drag in Sydney and a young queen, hosting and touching the microphone was the biggest thing that I was afraid of. It was like
mm.
the number one, I'm not doing that. I'm not interested. I can't do it. But I think it's just a case of like, you have to stumble and fall before you can like learn from that and then eventually figure out your style of hosting.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think like holding a room, I watched so many like incredible queens like Maxi and like Minnie and so many other queens just be able to talk and banter and chat on a microphone. And I think when I figured out not trying to do what they are doing and just figure out your little style on the microphone is the best way you can do it, then you can't do wrong. Like even if you
Yeah.
stumble and like you get a word wrong and like my voice breaks all the time, but like you just giggle at it. You just go with it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's so cute. But that's my favorite thing. But even just aside from like your hosting, just the way you interact with people, you have a way
Mm,
of breaking down people's barriers and making them feel instantly comfortable. It's the same as you, like Coco. You've got these personalities that just invite people in, and you just
yeah.
kind of. It's really magic to watch. Was there anyone in your family that you sort of had learnt those sort of things from, or were any artists that you kind of
Uh,
saw
Do you know,
that
what?
you
I
kind of
actually think
modeled?
it was Coco, to be completely honest. I think
Mm,
I worked Coco's first gig in Sydney ever with her at Luna Park for a Toy Box One Mardi Gras. And she's got such that bubbly and welcoming personality, as you said. I think like I sort of picked up on that, recognized it, and absolutely fell in love with her.
yeah.
And, from that day, we've just been very happy go lucky people. And I think, put us together, we can talk the walls off any house within 100-meter radius at all volume levels at all times. But I think it's just a case of like, no one's out to have a shit night. No one's out or wanting to go to a show to be in a sour mood. So, if you can have a little conversation and you get to laugh about something or you get to, learn something about each other, then camp. Like
Yeah, I
that's a
love
lot more
it.
fun than being a sour bastard.
Yeah. Oh my god, bitch. I know we've been around some of them, but
Ah,
it's always been something
name
that I
them,
just name them, name them.
name them.
It really. I've just put my fan on. It's fucking hot.
I know,
Oh,
I know.
bitch. I'm sweating my tits off, and you're in drag. I was gonna get into drag, but I'm so sorry, I just didn't. So,
You know
whoopsie.
what? I put the drag on early so I could get here and sit in the aircon and be like, oh, okay, I can do this. Let's do it.
Well, I feel very honored. I feel very appreciative of it.
Oh, anything for you, Henny.
Yeah. But I hear it's got to do with it. Like I think obviously now you've lost Drag Race. You have
Yes.
those, I think what I like to do is sort of break down major sort of pinnacles in your life of loss or things that you've experienced that have sort of molded you as a person and as an artist. Has
Mm,
there been any big sort of moments that come to mind that have sort of helped guide you? Because as well, you operate as well from your humor. It's
mm.
very sort of dark-sided. Your humor's very
Very dark
dark-sided,
sided.
and
Very dark sided.
I do wonder whether or not that is because you just kind of learnt the unseriousness of life through different things. I'm
Very much so.
curious.
Very much so. And I think like, every gay kid has a very similar story in terms of like school wasn't the best.
Yeah.
You go through friends, you go through life stages and things like that. My family side has a lot to do with my darker humor mostly. And I think sort of, child of divorce and a fabulously messy divorce too. It
Really?
does teach you that like life means absolutely nothing. Something that you think is the thing of permanence that will last forever isn't the be all and end all of anything. And if that does come to an end, there's something that will rapidly step in that will let you sort of invest more emotion into and like you'll get more excitement from. Like
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
doom and gloom. It never really is.
Like your parents Are they friends now, or are they still like?
Yeah, definitely closer now. I think they, what happened between them, and
Yeah,
even the fact that they've been able to sort of move past that and sort of co-parent and do this and do everything. Like, we're all very grown children. We're all
yeah.
30 plus. They weren't always as close as they were. So,
Hmm.
and now they've sort of gone their separate ways, built their new separate lives. And, the positive of what happened was I gained an entire step family, which
Mm.
is incredible because, you're born with the family you have. And then, we make the family that we make in our adult life, but then having a new addition to your blood family, especially in like a later stage in life. I think my mum remarried when I was like mid-20s, maybe. And
Mm.
like I walked her down the aisle, which was something that I never thought I'd be
Ah,
able to do. So it was like, that was a big loss and a big shift in, my understanding of like a family dynamic. But it gave me a new family dynamic. So
mm.
it's just like a cycle of rebirth. And, if one thing ends, something else starts.
I love that because like my parents, they separated for a while. They're back together now,
Mm,
but like such a fascinating way of looking at it. Like you've all looking at all the things that you've gained through, something that probably as a kid would felt so traumatic and your world is
yeah.
crumbling, and you've just now been as a. Did you start to realize this at the time that it was happening, or was it something that you've looked back retrospectively and gone, oh my god, that's what I got out of this?
It's a bit of both. I think, it probably started kicking off between when I was like 16 to 18. And it sort of culminated with me sort of moving out of home into the city and sort of starting my city life. And that was all sort of connected. So I think in the moment, we were more confused than anything because we didn't
Yeah.
really have the full picture. And like, we didn't need to have the full picture in the moment either.
No,
Like,
because it's mum and dad's
it's not
thing
our
to go
business.
through. Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
we're connected to it, obviously, but I think watching them both come out of it and improve themselves does give you the ability to sort of look back and be like, it was actually the greatest thing that you guys did. Like, the
Yeah.
healthiest thing for you both was to call it when you called it and go your separate ways.
Yeah. Isn't it weird that when you start like looking at your parents as like they're like us, like
Yeah.
then you're like, oh,
Do you know what got
oh,
me? My mum said the other day, she was like, 3 years ago at your age, I had you. And I was like,
oh no,
"Ugh.
let's not do
No,
that,
don't say
mum.
that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that." It's like, yeah, I'd already had one and you were the second when I was 30. I was like, that's disgusting. If I had a child at 30, I think I would lose my goddamn mind and the child.
Yeah, see, I don't. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm like, I don't think I could cope being a parent now. I
No.
like seeing all these people around us having kids. I'm like, oh,
Wow. I'm
yeah.
like, what like life lesson did we miss in like the mid 20 to 30 gap where we're like, oh, instead we chose to be exciting cross dressers in the city. And we're like, oh, we missed out like foundational people raising skills.
I know. But then I suppose we do it in a different way. We raise all these
Yeah.
little shit drag queen bitches
Well,
that we love so
we
much.
do. We're
That
passing on life to a new generation. It's just
yeah.
it's different life.
Yeah, because it is. It's like mothering without even realizing you're mothering. Because
Yeah.
now that you've done the show, people are probably going to be looking at you, going like, "Oh, I want to be just like Vibe." We don't even realize that we have that effect on people.
Yeah, totally.
Like, what would you say to someone that is looking at you now, going, "Oh wow, I've just watched Vibe, and I want to be just like her."
Well, I think anyone who wants to be just like me, I would just say, just do you. Just do you. I think I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing, to be completely honest. Like, people are like, I want to be just like Bob. I'm like, well, when you figure out what that is, please let
Please
me
let me
know
know.
because I'm flying blind. Like, every day is a new day, and I'm excited and surprised when the sun rises because I'm like, we made it again. Fierce. So if I ever look like I've got a plan, I'm the best actor you've ever seen.
Yeah, it's true. But your eternal joyfulness. That's why I think I resonate with you a lot. Is this eternal joyfulness, even though everything is
Ah,
crumbling around.
I read this thing and it was like, I'm gonna forget the word for it, but it's
That's all
like
right. You can
something
paraphrase.
something optimism. I don't remember what the other word is, but it's like the
Eternal
realization,
optimism.
something like that. I feel like it's a science word or a psychology word, but
Okay.
it's basically like acknowledging that everything means nothing, nothing means anything. You're a bunch of gas floating on a rock in the middle of space, cross-dressing for a living, making money, jumping paycheck to paycheck, trying to figure out when you can have your next holiday. Nothing is that serious. And then I
Yeah.
think once that like clicked, I was like, oh, so everything's a joke. How hilarious. And you can just laugh.
Oh, bitch. And everything's a human construct. We've all created
Yeah,
this. We've created all these
nothing makes
systems for us.
sense.
I know. Isn't that wild? Like,
It's so weird. And like the more you try and make sense of it, the less sense it makes. And so it's like, whoa, let's just stop making sense of it. Like if you wake up, great.
I know. Like, and we are like, but that's the thing. Been watching animal documentaries, and I'm like,
Yeah.
sometimes I think like, oh my God, we're like little ants in a little ant colony, just but we're big
Yeah.
and we're humans and we're not ants. Wow.
Do you know what gets me? I think the same thing, but then I think, oh my God, imagine if we're just like gay cells in some massive thing's body, but we don't know because we're just doing what we do and we have to just push the things in the body along. And then something else that we're all involved with is the thing that's actually living. We don't need to know. We don't need to know. We just need to do.
Yeah, a bit. I feel the same way. I like.
Yeah.
I like. I don't think I'm a conspiracy theorist. I do think
Mhm.
aliens walk amongst us. I think they're here.
Same. I've seen a few.
Yeah,
There
a
used to be
bit.
a lot that performed at Polly's Follies, yeah.
Yeah, aliens do exist, and if you've been to Polly's Follies on a Sunday in
You've seen
Stonewall,
them.
you've seen them.
Oh,
But they walk at the and they're like this, you know, they can't keep their skin suits on. They're
nah.
falling off. Their eyes blink at weird times. So,
And
yeah,
they're really
they
into
are.
like wide set nostrils. They've got their own kinks. It's fine.
But I do honestly, I love this. I just feel 2025 is going to be a bit of a moment. You know, I think we're going to thrive because
Yeah.
we're not going to let the absurdity of the world get amongst.
And I feel like even just looking at the news is like, and I've got a day job where I have to be aware of the news. It makes me read things and all of that, which is so depressing this year. So if you
Yeah.
can, don't ever read the news. But yeah, in a world where it does get shittier literally every single day, I think, yeah, that thought of nothing matters and nothing is real and what real is not real at all. And it's all like perspective, you know what I mean? So if you're having fun in the moment, great, continue having fun. Like, don't not have fun because of something you read or something you're concerned about.
Yeah, I love that. And I do think that is definitely, I think, like, to tie it back into the fact that you've come from, you know, going through those trauma things as a kid with your family separating and all of that, you kind of have to rebuild. Do you feel like that has made you have the ability to go, okay, I can get through these things? Like, I can
Yeah.
get through life because I know I've been to a dark place.
Well, my thing was, I think like the idea of how life should be, which especially as a kid growing up in a very straight world, which we all were at the time
Yeah.
that we grew up, like it was not as gay as the world is now. But I think, you know, you're told that, you know, by this age you should have a wife or a husband. By that age, you should own a house with a white picket fence. You should be earning this much. You should be that. And then you should be having kids at this age. And I think watching The Perfect Life sort of fall apart in front of me was very eye-opening to the fact that, well, that's one person's perspective of how life should be. And I think
Yeah.
being gay is such a goddamn blessing because we don't have to live by that rule. And like, we can literally be cross-dressing until we're 70 and like
Yeah.
traveling the world and wearing glamorous caftans and too many rings and being bald-headed with fancy hats. Like, yes, I'm ready for that stage of my life. Oh, she's here.
Wait, I'm gonna give you a bald head with a fancy hat.
Here we go. Oh, you know what? She came prepared. She came prepared. It's groundskeeper Hanny.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like I love that because I just do resonate with that so much, and I think people that are listening are probably going to be feeling the same thing. Like they're probably going through things in their life, but that idea of just being able to just play and feel free and know that you can rebuild is, that's the best part. I do have to say, I agree with you that that is the best part about our community is that we have always found like-minded people and we just come in together and we build our own little families and our worlds. And you've done that really well. You've got like such incredible sisters, Coco, Ivy, Sia, what do we get? The sirens, but but especially you, Ivy, and Coco, the three of you. When did you guys meet?
So I met Coco when she first came to Sydney for that gig. And then we sort of instantly became friends. And then I was Vybe was created by a couple of dancers in Sydney. And so I sort of started doing shows. And one of them was sort of like, hey, you should meet Ivy. She's really good at makeup. She can help you not look like trash. And I was like, deal. So
yes, thank you.
We were introduced to each other, but it came with a warning of like, don't get too close. And I was like, okay, why? Turns out it was this weird possessive ownership thing over me, and I was like, whatever. But then Ivy and I absolutely hit it off. And then me, Ivy, and Coco joined Rumor, and we all sort of we realized that we all love drag. We
Yeah.
all wanted to figure out how to get better at it. And we all knew that we could each teach something to each other. So, Ivy would do half of my face and make me match the other side, which, Lazy Susan is famously called Lazy Susan, but I was Lazy Eye Vibe for years because one side was severely slouched.
Had
And,
like cerebral
like
palsy.
very, 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 like it was like, whatever that facial paralysis thing is, whatever that was, I was struggling with it at the time. But like there was like 5 or 6 of us all in. We used to go to Rumour's apartment on Crown Street, and we would
I've been
sleep in a
there. I've
pile.
been there.
Yeah, we would sleep in a pile. Like she had
Yeah.
this big square couch, and we would pull it out, and we would all just lie on top of each other like 4 or 5 nights a week, and just sleeping like a pile of rescue dogs. Really,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think we all had our own houses that we were all paying rent at, but we were just like, well, we all need to
Just
sleep
be
together. We all
together.
need to lie together and eat together and do drag together. And I don't know, that sort of sisterhood was so strong that,
Mm.
it led to all of us like getting our own house together. And then, Rimmer moved up to Newcastle. And so then me, Coke, and Ivy lived together. And then Sia moved in over COVID. And it was just very like, this feels my idea of a family is,
Oh, yes.
like
Yeah.
it's the most open polyamorous marriage you've ever seen in your life. But we all go home, we cook each other dinner, we take turns doing things each through the week. We all sit and game together. And if I could describe what I think is a normal family relationship, it's what we have. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, because like for those who are listening, like that house that Vibe, Coco, Ivy, and Sea live in, it's like the downstairs is massive basement of drag. Then
Yeah.
there's got the main floor, which is the like, living family and like all the rooms, and then Sia's up the top, isn't she? Sia's up
Sia and
the
Ivy up top.
Sia and Ivy are up the top, and it's like this 3-story house, and then like they've got this like random garage out the back with a wine cellar that goes down to nowhere, which is a
Yes,
dungeon.
very true.
That's where you're gonna. That's where you have to put them if they're naughty.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a doomsday prepping wardrobe.
It's so good. It like, but it is. It's just. I feel like this episode needs to be just about family because you embody what family is, the three of you,
Mm.
but you especially, you just. You're like you bring the people together, and that's not an easy skill for everyone. Like, and
Yeah.
do you feel like has that always just been natural for you? I know you've learnt skills, but there is something about you that like you're just like a little heart in the middle. Like, and you just go. I don't know what it is. It's just. Oh, it fascinates me.
I don't either. And I feel like, I'm not conscious of this is a weird thing about going away for Drag Race too. I came back to so many messages like, this doesn't feel normal, this doesn't feel right. Like it's so weird not having you like in the weekly life or in the daily
Yeah.
life. And it was the same at my day job as well. Like coming back in, they were very like, oh my God, we missed you. Like we need the energy, we need the this and the that. And I can't put my finger on what it is or where I sort of
You know
prioritize
what?
it or
Probably
learn it
that's for the
from.
best. That's probably for
Yeah,
the best. I love that.
I love it.
One thing that was really pivotal for us here in Sydney,
Hmm.
and something that I was so proud of you guys, was when you formed the Oxford Street Angels. When that happened,
Yes.
right? I lived. Can you tell the people the story? Because I
So
lived.
it was Cab. I think it was 2017, and there was this guy. We finished shows at Arc, and as is tradition, you get a kebab on the way home. So went to the 5-star kebab at the corner. This guy Ivan was sort of walking up the street, and in the kebab store there were maybe 5 or 6 big burly straight guys just saying everything that you can throw at the gay community that the straights love to throw, like, oh, you're freaks, you're this, you're that, you've all got HIV, you've got this, like all of that
All
typical
the
shit.
things.
And Ivan sort of stood up and was like, you can't say that here. And then got sort of walloped in the face by these straight guys. And me, Ivy, and Coco, and I will say Ivy and Coco definitely threw a lot more of the punches in the attack back. I was in charge of holding the kebabs because I prioritize the nutritional
Yeah,
benefits of the
yeah,
community,
yeah.
okay?
Because you know
But
they're gonna want to eat after this.
you're gonna want to eat. Sorry, like I'm like, go get them, girls. It's fine. It was just something that it wasn't a planned thing. I don't think
Mhm.
it wasn't a. It just felt right to stand up, say something, and sort of put ourselves in between someone who was very short and at risk from 5 big straight guys, rather than let him be flattened and completely annihilated I don't think it was a case of like us feeling like we were putting ourselves in harm's way. It was just the
Just
thing
the
to do.
natural, yeah.
The thing to do.
Yeah, mother's nurturing just came out. I think we don't condone the violence or anything, but
Mm.
sometimes at some points, if it's thrown at us, I think the only thing that can happen is that we need to stand up and fight a little bit more because it's
Yeah.
happening so often.
And that's the thing. And I think I will always say I don't condone violence, but I'm a fan of repercussions. So
Mm,
if you come to, especially Oxford Street, which is our safe space, it's historically been our safe space, it's our community, and it's not exclusionary in terms of everyone's welcome, but just know where the fuck you are. This
yeah,
is where we feel at home. So I think even with, there's been a lot more violence and shit that's gone on in the past few weeks and months on Oxford Street and its surrounds, like it's just made it clearer that I think we just need to draw a line in the sand. And, it's a matter of if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. And people are actively trying to push you down that staircase. I'm a very vocal bastard. I will run my mouth, as you know, all the
yeah,
time. And I just don't think, like, the police, they don't really do anything about it in the community, which is really upsetting. We've
yeah.
had countless incidents that are just pushed to the side, pushed under the rug, and if the people that are meant to keep us safe aren't bothered, well, then we're just
Well,
going to have
then
to
we
do
got
it
to do it
ourselves.
ourselves. I
Yeah,
agree. I think our bubble's being burst a little bit
it's
because
slowly being burst. Absolutely.
yeah, and I think gone are the days of where we can just be comfortable in fighting about stupid shit. It's the queer
Oh my
community.
god! Like,
We
let us
we
see who stole whose wig was like the highlight of the year of drag drama. Was you're
yeah,
wearing a black wig that someone took? Okay,
yeah. I
great.
know. And now we've got a real bloody threat knocking on our door. I bring that up because I want people to know that, especially here in Sydney, there's people like
Mm.
you, people like Coco. I will do my best. I'm a little ankle biter, but we're
Like
there.
she got
Like,
sharp teeth. You got
yeah,
sharp teeth.
num num nums. But like,
But I think
just like,
like
yeah,
it's just the right thing to do. And
yeah,
it is unfortunate, but I think going into Mardi Gras, which is when we should be, the most proud and
united.
visible and this and united, I think the one thing to be is together and
Together. Yeah,
not in just a physical sense, but also just being there for each other. Like don't walk alone, don't do anything by yourself, don't go anywhere near the back streets, especially you're in drag
yeah,
because it's just becoming clearer that people are coming to our street with an issue that they want to settle. So,
yeah. Yeah,
mm.
and we're not going to be their punching bags anymore. And
No.
it is shitty. Like it really drives me fucking up the wall. Like how lax the police are being. It just feels like there's something going on, Mama. And I'm like,
And it's like, look,
it's
whoever's pocket you're in, great. But like the gay community also has lots of money.
yeah,
Okay.
there are
Some of
rich
us are
bags.
fabulously rich. Get in
Yeah,
our pockets. And
not
like,
us, but
well, not us, not us. Like, bring us into the pockets that you find because I would love
yeah,
some more
yeah,
cash in the bank. But
yeah,
yeah, it's like you're meant to be there, especially in Surrey Hills and in Darlinghurst. Your like primary directive is to protect those at risk. We're at risk, and that risk is increasing. So, I mean, I'm just surprised, and equally, unfortunately, not surprised that they're just not doing anything.
yeah. I agree.
Mm,
Yeah, and it's like it is such a shame, but yeah, again, I think your ideals of family and being together and coming together is just so important these days now more
mm.
than ever. And I'm glad that you embody that, and that's what I appreciate and I love about you so very much.
Oh, right
So,
back at you, Hands. You've
yeah,
always been a very sort of open book, happy to help anyone, and yeah,
open
happy.
legs,
Open
mama.
leg. Oh, if I could, I'd lift mine up, but they don't bend past the knee anymore. But yeah, I think there's more people in our community that are open to that and
Mm,
very family focused and community driven. And there's only a few that are like selfish, too self-absorbed to bother. And we all know who they are. So like,
yeah.
you know, just
Name
gravitate to the
them.
ones that can.
Name
You
them.
name them. You name them.
No, no, thank you. We don't need to give airtime to that.
Yeah, fuck them.
Oh, Barbie. Well, I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll be back. And yeah, I want to give you a big love before you go. So, thank
Gorgeous.
you. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, everybody. I'm still here with the absolutely gorgeous Vibe, the mother of the family,
The family of the family.
the family of the family, who's just lit up our lives today. And I hope that those listening taken home some beautiful lessons of life and love and how
Mhm.
to be just a good person. And I thank you for sharing those things with me and the audience, Vybe. We appreciate it.
Oh, anytime, Hannah, anytime.
So, what is happening for Vybe coming up? Where can the people find you? What's going on? Any big things?
We are floating around everywhere for Mardi Gras, doing lots of different gigs, but I think the one thing to focus on and get excited for is the Drag Race Down Under live tour. Our season 4 sisters are all going on the road at the end of March. We're doing Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, and Brisbane, I think in the very last week of March. So all the ticketing info and detail are at ITD Events. Have a look at In the Dark and get your tickets because it's going to be a damn camp show. And we've got all 10 girls, so it's going to
I
be
know,
fierce.
it's so good. Where can the people follow you?
It's just Vybe on most platforms. We're starting a new live streaming career over on TikTok. So we're doing game streams, we're doing makeup shit, we're doing this, that, and everything else, whatever the people want. So yeah, come join, come have a giggle.
I love that because for those who don't know, Vybe's a gamer.
Yeah.
The House of Jumbo is a gamer.
Very, very, very. Our electricity bill is through the roof.
So make sure you go and subscribe and watch out and keep your eyes on those live streams and gift. Can you gift? Can they gift?
Yes. And you know what I didn't realize? If you get the gifts on TikTok Live in Australia, you get money.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did the first one and it was like, you have made $18 US. I was like, I mean,
Thank you.
18 more US dollars than I had when I started the stream.
But that's
so,
practically
yay.
doubled. So what is that? What's 18 times 2? I don't know. Lots of money.
More than $20.
Yay! Oh, Vybe. Well, I love you. Make sure you go look out for Vybe, everyone. But thank you for being here. You're just a sensational light of my life, and I'll see you on the weekend for sure.
Love you, Hannah. I'll see you very soon.
I love you. Love you. Bye.
Bye, girly girl.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. Well, thank you so much, Vybe, for being with me today. We love you, love you. But welcome to a little segment that I like to call Healing Hands, because I have done a certificate 1 in Reiki, which means I can practice hands-on healing. I haven't done certificate 2, which is remote healing, but nevertheless, I'm dipping my toe into that pool because I know that you want unsolicited advice from Auntie Hannah. So here we go with some healing hands. I've reached out and I am very, very excited to help you out. So we have a message from Color My Queen, and they said, I'm an artist who does drag queen art. Lately, I feel unappreciated and stuck. Well, Color My Queen, we love you. You're an absolute sensation, a legend, and we love you. And I understand that feeling of feeling unappreciated and stuck because it can be stifling to you as an artist. And the only thing that I can say is that you've just got to maintain that you know that there are people out there that love you and love the work that you do and the things that you produce. So make sure you just keep on going, keep on creating the art, and don't work for the approval of others. Work for the approval of yourself and make sure that you're doing the things that you're enjoying. And if you're starting to feel like it's a bit of a burden, take a little bit of a break. There's no stress in taking a bit of a break just to recharge your batteries. Like, I honestly believe that wholeheartedly. Don't let yourself get bogged down in it. But if you do, there's no shame in that. It happens to the best of us. So just keep on doing the things that you do because we love it and we see it and we do appreciate it. And just sometimes because the compliments and the things don't come directly towards you doesn't mean they're not happening behind, like, you know, in general chat with people, you know, with communications that people are having with each other. So honestly, just keep on striving and keep on working hard, babes. It is working. It's doing its thing. Okay, I've been asked, Hannah, the people want to know, Melbourne or Sydney? Oh my God, I cannot decide between Melbourne or Sydney. I do love both. Sydney is home for me, and I love Sydney, and I'm very honoured to be living here. But I'm going to throw a spanner in the works and say Perth. Being an original Western Australian, coming from Perth. Perth, for those of you out there who don't know, is the most isolated city in the world, in Australia. It's in Western Australia, and it's a beautiful place. I don't think I could ever live there again. Sorry to my Perthians. It's just a bit quiet for me, but it is such a beautiful place to go and see and visit and be, and my family's there. So I'm going to throw Perth in there and, you know, be controversial yet brave. What else do we have here? I've got a message from Jordan. 9 years into my current job, I got moved roles today. No choice. I don't like the new one. Should I stick it out? Jordan, okay. So this is really challenging, because I understand a lot of jobs now, you cycle through different roles and things happen. And I don't like the fact that you didn't get a choice to move. You just got told to do it because that can really sort of shake the foundations, especially if you liked what you're doing and you're good at it. I don't know. I think the only thing you can do is, communicate with your leadership, talk to them and say, look, it's not working for me. I'd really like to go back into what I was doing if that is a possibility, and just, put the ball in their court and see what they say. Because I think this is the thing, we get scared of leadership roles and people in leadership roles and talking to them because we're scared we're going to lose our job. But if you're not liking it and the worst thing they do is say no, well, then you know where you stand, you know what you need to do. So, you can make a better decision to go, well, if they're not going to put me back to where I was and where I was happy, or they're not giving me support to thrive in this new role, well, if it's not for me. So then you can start making plans on where you're going to go next. I would always recommend that, especially in today's economic climate. Look, I hate being that girl, but just try and make sure you've got somewhere to go, or you've got a bit of a plan of how you're going to support yourself before you jump into another role. I think that's really important, because you don't want to cut your nose off to spite your face, because you diving into that world of not having any sort of certainty could be quite challenging. You're not sure of where you're going to go. So that's my advice to you, and good luck, and make sure you look after yourself. But love you. Well, thank you for listening to another incredible episode of What's Lost Got to Do With It. We'll be back very, very soon with another episode, and by very soon I mean next week. So stick around and make sure you subscribe, maybe make sure you like, you follow. We are audio on all of your streaming services like your podcast app and Spotify, and we are visual on YouTube. So we love you, and we'll see you next week.